So we have learned how we are going to do the YouTube automation for our videos. In the second part, we will be literally jumping inside the N10 and creating it. I have created this folder, YouTube automation for beginners. So all the workflows I'll be creating here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a giant workflow here first, and then I'm going to split it into sub workflows so that, it becomes more easy to digest. Right. So let's click create workflow. This is the workflow, right? So first thing first is we wanted to record and upload the video on the Google Drive, and then it automatically fetches that file into our N8, and that's the process. So in order to do that, we will say Google Drive, and then there's like multiple action. So the triggers are on change to a specific file, on change involving a specific folder. I'm going to select this. Now my Google Drive account is already connected and it is pulling it every minute. Maybe I could do it every hour. This is not like doing it all the time. And then from the list, I can select the folder. So I have created this folder here and all. And then let's say file uploaded. No, I think file created is the one which I have to get. Was there any other? So let me actually open the drive. Okay, so this is my drive folder where I'm going to upload the videos, right? So that's what been selected. And then if I fetch the test event, it brings me all the details of the file here, which is last updated here, right? Okay, so that's the first node. What is the second bit? So once it fetches, what I have to do is I have to send this to an API to remove the silence. So here what we are going to do is we are going to follow 3 steps. So one is we're going to send HTTP request to an API, and then that will create a job ID. Then we will wait for a while to make sure that the job is processed. And then we will send another HTTP request to see if what is the status of the job, and then we will have a switch statement to make sure if the job is still pending, we go back to where we started here, and if it is not pending, then we will just go to the next step. So these will be our 4-step process. Okay, you could do it through the Erenol node also. So if you search for Erenol here, you will see there's a lot of actions available here, and the one which we wanted is to remove the silence from the video or audio. So that's one thing. But I wanted to take you through the whole process. I wanted to explain it to you how all things work, and that's why I've chosen the normal HTTP request instead of an Erenol node. But later on, when you use it for production, you can use it. It's easier, right? Okay. So the first thing is we have to go to erenol.com, sign in, okay, and then go to API key and then create an API key. Once you create an API key, it will be here. If you use the link in the description below, you will get a lot of credits to use it. So don't forget to utilize that. I'm going to share it with you. This is my referral link here, okay? And then once that's done, what you do is you go in the authentication, say generic credential type, and then say header auth, and then in the header auth you can create one. So I have created with the Erenol API, so it's already there. Okay, let's rename this to what was the first part? Remove silence, right? So remove silence. There you go. That's our request. So we're gonna go to the documentation here and then search for removing silences here. So it's this one. So as you can see, this is the remove silence endpoint, and then you have the body, and then you have the URL, and then everything. So let me just copy the body, the URL first. Go back to my request, put the URL here, and then obviously you have to put host here. You have already selected this credential, so you already know. And then we have to select send body and then JSON, and using JSON that will just make our life easy. Okay, and then when we go here and when we will see the request body is very simple. We have a URL, we have a silence threshold and minimal silence duration. So that's the only 3 things we have to pass it on. So I'm gonna copy this, go back here, open the post method, and then put it the JSON here. And then that's pretty much it. So one thing I want to mention here is if I open this, you can see that the previous node was executed. And here, as you can see, we have to provide a URL. Now, this URL needs to be dynamic, right? Because every time we are uploading the files on the Google Drive, so it needs to come from there. So I'm gonna go and search for the URL, which we need to pass it on here. So for this link, we have to make sure that it is web content link, right? We have to make sure that it is that, because if not, then it will not work. We can also remove the padding element from here. Now, one thing to remember is whichever folder you are getting your files from, make sure that folder is shared and then it has this editor permission active before actually sharing your URL here. Okay, so this is how you pass on removing silence in a automation for your video. Okay, so that's done. And then after, what we have to do is we have to send this request and it will send it to the server and it will say, okay, the job is created. Once the job is created, obviously we have to wait for a few seconds. So let's say 5 seconds is good for us. And then what it will do is, after waiting for 5 seconds, it will pass the same information to the next step, which is our get step. So what do we do here? We go back to Ernon and then we find status API, which is getting the status of the current job. So yeah, just click on the status link here and then copy the URL from here. Go back to your NA10, put your URL here. Again, as per the documentation, it's a GET request. So we have added it. Now, as you can see, you have to pass the job ID here. So what we could do, it was header all and then your API. You don't have to send anybody because it's a GET request. And then you can just execute it. As you can see that because we have waited, remove silences is completed, right? So then this passes to the switch. So we open the switch statement here. So what we are doing is we are checking the status on this one. And we, let's say, have 3 different comparisons here. So let me do first one. Let's say fail. So if it is equal to fail, then we will handle it with the failure. The second one is equal to, let's say, not equal to completed. So instead of selecting equal to, we say not equal to. That will say it is still processing. And then the last one, we say it is completed, right? So let's say done. We name it done. And then we see that processing in the middle and done is in the bottom and the fail in the top. But maybe I want the processing in the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll just move this completed equal to and not equal to down here. So now you see processing in the bottom and done in the middle. I'm going to do it like this. So when it is processing, sorry, not here. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. There you go. So when it is processing, we will still go wait and then again check the status of the job and then again run it through the switch statement. And this way we can figure out that if it is done or not. So I'm going to run it and see the whole process works or not. Created a job, waited for 5 seconds, checking the job status here. And then once the job status, they see again, it's fallen black here, right? So keeps going because it's processing. That's why it's went back. But in order to have it in the loop, I have to run the whole process from execute workflow. But you got the gist, right? So that is how we have to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some notes here, sticky note, and then I'm going to say this one is for remove silence. There you go. And then I'm going to say from here to here. This is the remove silence part of it. So, it's clear and straightforward for us to understand like this is what is happening here. And then obviously once it is done, we will take it to the next level. And in the failure, what we could do is we could simply send an email with the Eternal API. So there is an send email notification. Again, notify, send email. Let's say I want to send it to my email, remove silence failed, right? And then I'm going to just say remove silence failed. Yeah, there you go. And then I'm going to add it to the failed version. So this is how we remove the silence. Now the next step is to generate the caption. So we're going to learn this in our next video. So keep watching.